Alrighty. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. If so, I do want to welcome you back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I am your host, Patrick Vallejos. We are broadcasting live to the world from Phoenix, Arizona. So I want to welcome everybody in. Today we're going to be discussing the Idaho 4. That's Ethan Chafin, Kaylee Goncalves, Sana Kernodal, Madison Mogan, and the accused Bryan Kohberger. And it's at this point I'm pretty convinced that Bryan Kohberger is responsible for this. I mean, I am convinced of that. Let's see here. So I do want to welcome everybody in. I don't have a real rhyme or reason to today's live stream. It's going to be an open discussion. I do want to talk a little bit about. Okay, sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Give me a minute here, guys. I apologize. Okay. I don't know if it's my computer or what, but I do want to welcome everybody in for today's discussion. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if refreshing this helps at all. I don't know. Might be too much, too many different applications open throughout the house. Welcome in, Copper Horse, She Warrior, Olivia 2, Curious Charlie, Patty. What's going on with you, Olivia? Okay, thank you. So audio is good. Is there? I don't know. Maybe it was the website I had on. There's like a million ads popping up. What's going on, Shane? Is there anybody in the chat right now that still is kind of on the fence about whether or not Bryan Kohberger is responsible for killing these four young people? Good to see you, Stacy Skinner, Lorraine Perez. Shane says, I'm watching Yellowstone here and it keeps jumping in and out. Global issue. Maybe we're being hacked. It's the Russians. Welcome in, none of your business. And who was it? Dr. Catherine Ramsland? Didn't she co-author the BTK biography? And I just think it's very curious that Bryan Kohberger studied underneath her. He must have been infatuated with her. I have an article up here by Carrie Rawson, the daughter of the BTK, titled "BTK Killer's Daughter Sensed Her Father in the Idaho Murders. Bryan Kohberger's Arrest Took Her Breath Away." So I feel like maybe serial killers were his heroes. It's very strange. Also reminds me a lot of the Gainesville Ripper. You guys ever heard of that case? Danny Rowland. Danny Harold Rawling. So the Gainesville Ripper was an American serial killer who murdered 5 college students in Gainesville, Florida over 4 days in August of 1990. So I wonder if this is something that Kohberger was, striving for. A title like that, the Gainesville Ripper. Because I mean, the name Bryan Kohberger is going to go down, as one of those infamous names in history. Shane says he is responsible. I mean, the one thing that sticks out to me is his lack of an alibi. His alibi is simply driving around. That's reminiscent of Richard Allen's alibi, right? I left early. That's all you need to know. But right now, he is trying to suppress anything that was found in his vehicle, the DNA evidence. So, I mean, they're just going through the motions right now, trying to get everything suppressed, but it's not going to happen. Lorraine says, in my opinion, he's guilty, no question. Hey, what's up, James? Oh, congratulations on the new job. Being busy is good. Hopefully, we're catching you in the replay, on the replay crew. Make sure you're leaving comments and feel free to email me about anything that we're discussing. What's up, CJK? Sharon Parker's in the building. Okay. So the Gainesville Ripper. I mean, this is an older case. Back when I was a kid, 1990. He later confessed to raping several of his victims, committing a triple homicide in his home city of Shreveport, Louisiana, and attempting to murder his father in May of 1990. In total, Rowling confessed to killing 8 people. He was sentenced to death for the 5 Gainesville murders in 1994. He was executed by lethal injection in 2006. So the death penalty is definitely on the table for Bryan Kohberger as well. Shady, slimy character. Well, he just looks evil. I mean, look at those eyes. I remember reading somewhere like if you can see more white of the eyeballs, like that's a sign that people are crazy. Like if you see more white than anything else of the eyeball. I don't know how true that is. But man, look at those eyes. Jason G. All right, gotcha. What's up, smart shopper? No, Allen. How could he get things suppressed? I don't know. I mean, Richard Allen tried to do the same thing. I think it's just something that they do. They got to try, right? I feel like that's the attorney's job, if it, to exploit any technicality. But he does not have much of an alibi. Simply driving around, Your Honor. I was not committing murder, I swear. I was just out for a cruise. The DNA is just a very peculiar thing, I swear. Yeah. Maybe when you make your adjustment. But either way, congrats on the new job. What's going on with you, Shane? Sharon? Jeanette, good evening. Hey, Laura. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Void. Soulless. Red Sauce says he does have those empty, soulless eyes. Oh, and Red Sauce, I was getting you confused with Hot Sauce. I'm an idiot. So I apologize about that. So shout out to Hot Sauce for donating to the Cash App. A few times, actually. Hey, Jari. Lynn, welcome in. How you doing? Yeah, he's a creeper. Here, I actually have an interesting story about Bryan Kohberger. Hopefully I saved it here. Well, let's break down the case real quick. The victims, Ethan Chafin, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogan. Chafin was a freshman. Kernodle was a junior. Goncalves and Mogan were both seniors. The suspect, Bryan Kohberger, a doctoral student in criminology. So this guy was destined to be, I think he wanted to be a serial killer. Maybe he was. Maybe he has other victims. There's other crimes that at least I suspect him of being involved in. Criminology at Washington State University, was arrested in December of 2022. Damn. I feel like this case, just happened not too long ago. He pleaded not guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary in May of 2023. The evidence against him includes a leather knife sheath with DNA on it that was found on a bed in one of the bedrooms where the murders took place. Phone records also indicate that Kohberger's phone was near the student's home between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. after the murders. And we can go over that timeline if you guys want to. I have that pretty well mapped out. As far as the trial, Kohberger's trial is scheduled for next summer in Boise, Idaho. Prosecutors are seeking the option to put Kohberger to death, and I think that they will be successful in that. If he's found guilty for this, he definitely needs to be put to death for what he did. Authorities have not publicly confirmed a motive. Moscow police say the quadruple homicide was part of a targeted attack, but they have not concluded if the target was the residents or its occupants. So it's this story here that makes me think that he may have somehow been targeting these individuals specifically, and also that he may have other victims.
Now to the Idaho murders case. Suspected killer Bryan Kohberger is set to be arraigned on Monday morning at 9 a.m. This comes after a grand jury indicted him on 4 counts of first-degree murder on Tuesday. And now we are learning more about the suspects from Kohberger's own family.
This is a crazy story.
With another bombshell allegation claiming the suspect, Bryan Kohberger, was involved in another crime that happened before these.
Now, remember, he's studying under the person who communicated with the BTK killer, which stands for bind, torture, kill. One of the most infamous serial killers of all time. Dennis Rader, a really scary person. He lived a normal life. He had a daughter who had no clue he was a killer. But the thing about Dennis Rader and the weird connection to Bryan Kohberger, which is Kathleen, his instructor, is that Dennis Rader worked in security as well. And that's how he would target his victims. He was either doing security for the home or somewhere nearby. So listen, check this story out.
Murders. Now, this incident involved his female co-worker at Washington State University. According to a Dateline report, someone allegedly broke into the woman's apartment and moved things around. Instead of calling police, the co-worker called Kohberger, who suggested and helped her install security cameras. But the report says Kohberger was behind that break-in and used those cameras to spy on her. Let's bring in now News Nation national security contributor, former CIA.
Okay, guys, let that sink in. So he was targeting, I believe, somebody that he had a class with, was terrorizing her, breaking into her home, moving things around, basically psychological warfare on this person. And then he would, in person, would talk to her about it, and came to her rescue. But really, it enabled him to watch her. They installed security cameras. Well, he installed the security cameras and had full access. I mean, honestly, she's lucky to be alive, in my opinion. But that's very reminiscent of Dennis Rader, the bind, torture, kill serial killer.
CIA officer and FBI special agent Tracy Walder. Tracy, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Always great to see you. So first, let's start with this new allegation, which claims Kohberger broke into his female colleague's home and how he used this incident to spy on her. What does this claim tell you about Kohberger himself?
So, look, we have to take all of these as just claims, right? We don't necessarily have multiple sources, reporting that this is true. If this is true, and if this indeed happened, it really does point to his sort of pattern of stalking. I have always believed, it's just my personal opinion, that, the victims in the Idaho Kings Road house were not randomly selected. I do believe that in some way he stalked them, whether that was digitally or physically, we don't know. And so what this could point to is a pattern of stalking, in that he was surveilling this person remotely, or in some kind of digital way. So
I don't know. Did they have cameras on the house, the Kings Road address? I don't know if they had like a Ring camera or something like that. Because if you don't have them protected, hackers are easily able to gain access to those things. Happens all the time. You can go on YouTube and just type in Ring camera hacked or security camera hacked, and you'll see a lot of creepy videos about that.
That's what this would help point to.
And another huge claim from that Dateline report involves Kohberger's older sister. During the time of the killing, she noticed that her brother was wearing latex gloves around their parents' home and that he drove the white car police were searching for nationwide.
Yeah, that's not obvious. So after the brutal murders that happened in the place that you just left, right? You drove all the way across country, which is ridiculous already. It's kind of suspicious. And then you're walking around with purple latex gloves. I mean, you would have been better off not wearing the gloves. You wouldn't have drawn any attention to yourself. So these people, they think they're smart, but really they're just fucked up in the head.
That sister also suggested her brother was behind the killing. So
look at those eyes.
Now we reported that an ID and other evidence was taken from Kohberger's parents' home. What's the likelihood that his own family helped investigators discover that evidence if these claims are true?
If these claims are true, I wouldn't be surprised that someone in his family suspected that he was involved in this. If he was walking around wearing latex gloves consistently, dumping his trash in neighbors' trash, and even going through his own trash and making sure that there was nothing suspect in it. He drives a white Hyundai. He lived close to the scene of the crime. I think those are all valid inferences, quite frankly, that members of his family could have made. But I could see people being on both sides of the fence. I could see his sister perhaps making a claim like this, and someone like his father sort of in a way brushing that off. I would imagine it's very hard to be a parent and have a child being accused of something so heinous.
Certainly, I can't imagine. So instead of holding a preliminary hearing, as you know,
welcome in Ruben Macias. says the same people that say Richard Allen is innocent are the same people that ride with this guy. Exactly. It's just kind of like I don't know, I guess evil begets evil. I'm not quite sure. But I just feel like darkness is drawn to darkness. People won't admit it because if you see the same people that are saying, "Oh, free Richard Allen," or debate me that Bryan Kohberger isn't innocent when I know that he is. These are the same people that will attack family members of victims. Like, think about how fucked up that is. These people just lost their family members to a brutal crime, something that you would never forget, something that sends shockwaves through the entire world. And you're over here attacking the family members because of your stupid theories. It's fucked up.
Grand jury indicted Kohberger for the murders, but a grand
Karma's
jury
coming for you.
Proceedings, those are secret, and the defense does not get to question witnesses or hear the case presented. So why do you think prosecutors opted for the grand jury in this case?
You know, I think that they probably opted for the grand jury and that they most likely had a preponderance of evidence. Quite frankly, I remember as an FBI agent going and testifying, in front of grand juries, and basically, my boss telling me, if you don't get an indictment,
That's a
don't
good
bother
point,
to
Shane.
come back. Typically, when you go through to a grand jury indictment, you want to make sure that you have more than enough evidence to present that is going to return an indictment. And I think that in a way, they wanted to be able to just provide the defense with a transcript of this, which the defense will get, and not have to lay all of their cards out on the table.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Jeanette says he looks like he would be someone that doesn't take no for an answer. Well, check this out.
Of Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger was arrested. This woman couldn't believe her eyes.
I recognized him immediately and my heart just sank because I couldn't believe that I was face to face with this guy.
Nurse Haley Willett says they met on Tinder in 2015 when they were both psych majors at Pennsylvania colleges. He took her to a movie, then insisted on escorting her to her dorm room.
I was kind of afraid to say no, so I just let him come in with me.
Then he did something she says she'll never forget.
He kept trying to tickle me. And I would ask him to stop, or I'd say, "What are you doing?" And he would be like, I'm not tickling you. And he would get very serious.
Creeped out by Kohberger, she came up with a clever ruse.
I proceeded to pretend to throw up in the bathroom, hoping that, it would gross him out and he would leave.
Did it work?
That's a good plan.
He had messaged me on Tinder and said that he was leaving and that he had a good time and that he would message me later. And then about an hour later, he messaged me and he said that I had good birthing hips. And I just never messaged him back after that.
After what happened to the 4 Idaho students, Haley thinks she had a lucky escape.
It could have been me.
And this woman says she knows and sympathizes with what Dylan Mortensen is going through. Dylan is one of the 2 surviving roommates and didn't call 911 for 8 hours, despite coming face to face with the killer. She told police she was in frozen shock.
She is not to blame for anything. Absolutely not.
Alana Zabel is a yoga instructor who attended Buffalo University in New York. She lived with 4 sorority sisters and suffered an eerily similar trauma. One night in 1992, a rapist broke into their home and attacked a student. Alana heard the attack, saw evidence that there had been a break-in, and even saw bloodstains. Yet she convinced herself nothing was wrong.
I felt someone in my room, and I lifted up my head, and there was no one there, but then the front door closed.
She waited 6 hours to call 911 and will never forget the horrific scene she found in her housemate's bedroom.
Her mattress was 3/4 of the way soaked with blood. The walls were covered in blood. Everything was covered in blood.
She says the murders of the 4 students in Idaho brought back nightmarish memories. She fears Dylan, the surviving roommate, is likely to be traumatized for years to come.
She's going to beat herself up for the rest of her life, so we don't need to do that for her.
The attorney.
Yeah, so back the fuck up. There's no reason to be even commenting on it. Yeah, these poor people. Tickle, tickle. Oh, man. Can you please stop tickling me? I'm not tickling you. Gets all blush. Gets all flush. I'm fucking creep. see if I had anything else bookmarked before I go any further. Let's see here. Bryan Kohberger, alibi ripped apart. Let's see here. Idaho student murders suspect Bryan Kohberger's alibi that he was driving around looking at the moon and stars. Wow. I forgot about the alibi, huh? You didn't think you were going to get caught. Looking at the moon and stars is too vague, according to prosecutors. Now they are asking the judge to deny any further request from his defense to call witnesses other than the defendant himself in an attempt to prove he wasn't at the King Road home. I think it's pretty much been proven, right? Yeah, here's a pretty good timeline. So August 21st, Bryan Kohberger's phone is picked up close to the Moscow murder house between 10:34 p.m. and 11:35 p.m. He makes 11 subsequent visits before November 13th. November 13th at 2:42 a.m., Kohberger's phone is picked up near his home in Pullman, Washington. Look at the path he took. 2:47 a.m., phone began to travel south through Pullman before going offline. For a criminology major, he's not very bright. Between 4 a.m. and 4:20 a.m., Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Goncalves, Zayna Kernodle, and Ethan Chafin are murdered. Brutally murdered at that. 4:48, not far from Moscow, Kohberger's phone pings again on Idaho State Highway 95 south of Moscow. At 5:30 a.m., phone arrives back at Kohberger's home. 9 a.m., Kohberger's phone begins to move. 9:32 a.m., phone is picked up near Moscow murder house. So why did he return? 12:36 p.m., Kohberger drives past Kate's Cup of Joe Coffee stand, which this is where he most likely dumped some evidence. Probably the blade is somewhere out here, maybe near the water. There's a river that runs through here. I wouldn't doubt it if the knife is in there. 12:46, Kohberger visits Albertsons grocery store. So, I mean, his goose is definitely cooked. Hey, Ruben, thank you for sponsoring today's live stream, my friend. Appreciate that. Here's the search of his apartment.
Just into our newsroom, it's body camera video of a search warrant being executed at Bryan Kohberger's WSU apartment. He's accused of killing Zayna Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves back in November.
Police department, search warrant, come to the door.
So in this newly released video, you can't see much. Officers redacted quite a bit of the footage to preserve their case against him, but you can see them enter his apartment and file away a few things. From an unsealed search warrant, we know some of what they took. A black disposable glove, multiple suspect hair strands, including an animal hair strand. That's notable because it doesn't seem like Kohberger had a pet, and one of the victims did own a dog. A dark red spot in the apartment sampled for testing, reddish brown stains found on a pillow, and multiple mattress covers with stains.
Do we know anything about that? Guess that's stuff that's going to come up in the trial. That's a good point. None of your business. Says we went from a 5'4" guy who looks like he wouldn't hurt anyone to whose face is next to serial killer in the dictionary. Yeah, Richard Allen is going down in history as one of the biggest pieces of shit to touch Indiana soil. Ruben says, "Yep, sick that the girls' families had to go through a death, and also people attacking them messed up on all levels." And I know that people can ignore it, and they can do their best to be tough, but eventually it's going to get to you. You know, I feel like if you lose somebody that's in your family like that to a crime that's this horrible, you got to be just holding on by a thread. And then when you have these weird personalities who are, you can just tell they're pure evil. As much as they try to mask it, they are evil guys. And I'm talking about some of these podcasters, some of these authors, and most of these YouTubers out here, they're basically unhinged. These people are not sane. They probably have the same eyeballs as this motherfucker. We're going to start doing the eye check. So if you're seeing more whites of the eyes than anything else, run. All right, let's catch up on the chat real quick before I go any further. Wanda, what's up? Shout out to Missouri. Kohberger had been exhibiting extreme behavior prior to what he did. He studied people like BTK because he honestly thought he could get by with it. They all do. Remember, guys, the same thing that's messed up in their mind that's telling them, hey, I want to go and kill. I want to rape. I want to murder. I want to harm. I want to stalk. Those are the same things that are telling them that they can get away with this. Some kind of weird, uncontrollable obsession. Psych major and majorly psycho. I like that. He's a psych major and a major psycho. Good to see you. Good birthing hips. Yeah, that would make me want to go throw up too. That was pretty smart of her. Acting like she's sick. Yeah, he's got game. I'll tell you what, he's got game. He's a Mac daddy. The Mac is back. Let me tickle you, baby. Let me tickle you. Let me tickle your birthing hips. Yeah, that fool has incel written all over him. You think he was born evil? Oh, geez. Red Sauce says, hey, I hear that all the time. Sounds like something an Amish person would say to you. That might be a good pickup line for the Amish. Quite the birthing hips. Hey, what's up, V? Yeah, thanks again, Ruben. Thanks for sponsoring today's live stream. Hey, Olivia. Linda Lane footage. What's that? Suspect vehicle 1 seen on King Road. Oh, okay. Yeah, his goose is cooked. All right, Mr. Kohberger, if you didn't do this, what were you doing? I was driving around. I was looking at the moon and the stars at 3 a.m. Yeah, that's not going to work, buddy. It's not going to do it. How often would you say you drive around looking at the moon and stars? Oh, that was the first time ever. Doesn't mean I'm a killer. You know what? I really did get into Yellowstone, but then after a while, it just kind of turned into a soap opera. I'm thinking about giving it another try, but the first season was just too much for me. The beginning was awesome, right? It was kind of like a cowboy mafia. It was like the Sopranos with cowboy hats. And then it just, I don't know, the writing just kind of took a left-hand turn. Maybe I ought to give it another try. There seems to be more evidence against this dude than Richard Allen, but I have a feeling the Kohberger fanboys and girls are going to be more vocal than the Richard Allen fan club. Well, yeah, he's more prolific, you know. If these folks are as evil, if they are as evil as I believe that they are, they're definitely going to fight harder for Bryan Kohberger because he's more of an evil figure, right? I feel like Richard Allen is kind of like one of those weird. I feel like he had his issues under control, and it took a series of stressors and circumstances to kind of complete that recipe for murder. But for Bryan Kohberger, he was making, he was making his own cake. He wasn't waiting for any circumstantial situations, any stressors. He was planning this out. He was learning how to be proficient. I don't think that Richard Allen, lived his life thinking, man, one day I'm going to be a prolific killer and everybody's going to talk about me. But when it comes to Bryan Kohberger, I think he actually thought that, like, one day people are going to talk about the crimes that I commit, like the BTK killer. So there's definitely a difference there. What's up, David? Says it's crazy how many YouTubers out there are supporting the idea that Bryan Kohberger is innocent. I hope they will shut down their channels when all the evidence. No, that didn't happen with the Delphi murders. They're still going on and on. I'm seeing live streams titled, what was one that I seen today? This is far from over. Like, all right, this is far from over. And it says free Richard Allen and we support Kathy Allen. And it's just fucking bizarre. Evil. Pure evil. There you go. V. Marie hit it right on the head. Let's pull up that sick guy. Adam Lanza. That's the Sandy Hook guy, right? Looks possessed. Whoop. Yep, same eyes. So anytime you can see more white than anything else of the eyes, the pupils or anything, you might be dealing with the psycho. Yep, V, you hit it right on the head. It's almost like they're bulging out, you know? Like they're wound so tight that their eyes are just popping out of their head. What's up, Hope Diamond? Tickle me Elmo. Be careful. If you got good birthing hips, you might be targeted. Oh, you know what? I just found out yesterday that stands for charisma. I was like, oh, is that what Riz is? Charisma. I did not know that. Telling you guys, I'm getting old. CJK says there are incels on YouTube also. Definitely. Definitely. Nature, not nurture. Yeah, because it doesn't look like Bryan Kohberger was like suffering from like child abuse or anything like that. I mean, I get weird vibes from his dad, but I don't think that they did anything. Necessary says not evil, beyond broken. Well, who broke him? Welcome in, Charles. Charles in charge. Hey, Mary. Just guess I seen birthing hips. Yeah, who says that? That sounds like something the Amish would say. Like the way you churn butter. I like your birthing hips. Let's get married. You got it, Ruben. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. I tried getting into the born or made argument of evil. I really think it's biological, and trauma in developmental years is a trigger. Yeah, and I think people who are evil, they may not even know it, but they could have been abused as infants, you know? I think that's possible as well. Hey, Beckles, new here. Welcome in. Question. If his DNA wasn't left on the knife sheath, would he be pointed at as guilty? Yeah, I don't think it was the knife sheath. That's just like the smoking gun. You know what I mean? But yeah, they were tracking him. They hadn't even compared his DNA to the sheath yet. That's what they were trying to do. Remember, they were tracking him all the way back to Philadelphia. They stopped him in Indiana, and then eventually they were digging through his trash, and they got the DNA that belonged to his father, and they said, "Hey, we got a match here to the DNA that we found on the sheath." So, hey, what's up, Salty Sleuth? Remember, Beckles, less than 10% of murder scenes even have the killer's DNA found. Less than 10%. So it's not even that common. But I think it was the fact that they had the knife sheath with the DNA on it. I think that's why they went for the indictment, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt. Hey, Jari, didn't I read somewhere that Bryan Kohberger was planning on killing his mom? That's the first I'm hearing of that, Jari. That is the first. But I would not doubt it if there were other victims, honestly. And they are definitely they're seeking the death penalty. Now let's take a look at some of the items that were seized during the search warrant.
Your first thoughts when you saw that list?
Good to be back with you so soon, Ashley. Well, I'll tell you what, it was an interesting list, and I think the evidentiary search warrant that was served on that residence, they obtained a treasure trove of
These two kind of go together. CJK says, David, don't count on it. We saw it with Delphi. The nasty channels just got nastier. Yeah, they don't care. I mean, they went after Kelsey, even though Richard Allen has been convicted. And there's no, why would you attack this girl? She's 16 years old. I understand that it's a possibility, but there's no information pointing in that direction. So why would you go out of your way? First of all, you say you're there for the victims, right? You're here for justice for Abby and Libby. We all know that that's bullshit. Or else you wouldn't attack Kelsey the way that you did. You wouldn't attack her grandparents the way that you did. Because if you believe that Abby and Libby are looking down on us and we're trying to set a good example and make them proud, just like everybody else that falls victim to true crime, you got to believe that they're disgusted with your behavior. But yeah, red sauce. I was watching the fish. No, first it was my stock ticker, and then it was I went over there to watch the fish. And I'm sure that's what Richard Allen has done many times, gone out on the bridge to watch the fish. It's probably where he got the idea. But it's also probably where he got the idea of committing a murder there or an assault in the future.
Evidence, and it seems to be having direct links to what we know now is some witness statements and the car itself.
What's up, Bobcat?
Parts out of it, instead of processing the car at another location, they just took the parts that were the most probative pieces of evidence out of the car, and they will process those things separately. So, yes, I would say, again, to describe it, it's a treasure trove of evidence.
Okay, so
Beckel says, how would they get to him without the DNA? Well, they did get to him without the DNA. Remember, they didn't have a connection of DNA until after they were already tracking him. They had him because of his vehicle. They had him because of his phone pings. And the DNA was just basically the final nail in the coffin, the smoking gun.
Ron, a few other things on the list that I thought were interesting. Multiple laptops, as well as a full computer. A leafy green substance found both in a green container and in a baggie. Clear plastic gloves, a Samsung solid state drive, a Samsung phone case. Those are all the things you'd expect.
Leafy green substance. The hell is that? What is he, mossy?
Right? You're going to take the electronics. Anything else stand
what's
out
up,
to
Andy?
you, though, about the list that I rattled off?
Yeah, well, Ashley, I think that what's really significant with this is sort of the contents and how prosecutors at the end of the day, I'm going to give a little perspective from what I expect the prosecution to be looking at in terms of this evidence. Will be looking to tie it back to this crime. And again, we're coming off the Murdoch trial here and the conviction in that case. And that was a circumstantial case. And ultimately, in this case, Ashley, it's going to be a circumstantial case where all these little bits and pieces, and we see this list from this search warrant being released, ultimately, those bits and pieces are going to have to be linked. And it's going to have to link Bryan Kohberger to that crime. So on an individual basis of the list, these things, are they suspicious? Perhaps from what we know about the allegations of this crime, yes. But ultimately, it's going to be the prosecution's job at the end of the day, and also, obviously, the forensic analysis of all this to link it back to Bryan Kohberger and ultimately this crime.
Thank you for watching.
You're welcome. All right, let's pull up this list here. One nitrate type black glove. Receipt with one Dickies tag, 2 Marshall's receipts, dust container from Basel Power Force vacuum. So I wonder if any of this has led to anything. Does anybody know? Guess we'll find out during the trial, huh? None of your business says, without the Delphi case, those channels die. They have to keep it going by catering to the wackadoos. Exactly. Exactly. You know, there's a group of unhinged people that are out there. They eat that shit up. Miranda Lee says, mass shooters, school shooters, and those other killers like BK and Richard Allen all have the same eyes. Yeah, and they're just looking for an easy target. You know, churches, schools. That's why serial killers like to target sex workers. Low risk. Yep, soulless. Yeah, so I don't know if any of these items are going to prove to be fruitful or not. So I don't know if you guys have gone through the probable cause or not. He's plain ass creepy. Hey, what's up, Boston? Hey, Anna, welcome in. This crime happened over 200 miles north of my Idaho home, but I haven't followed every tidbit. Innocent until proven guilty, same as Richard Allen. But I have a personal opinion. Yeah, it's up to the courts whether or not to convict the man, but we're all entitled to our opinion, right? And that's all I'm saying. In my opinion, I'm convinced that this man is guilty. Do I know enough to slam the hammer down? No, of course I'd have to take a look, but I mean, it's pretty much, to me, it's obvious. You know, when you're facing these kind of allegations and you just don't have an alibi, I mean, that really sucks for you. Especially when your phone and you're leaving a paper trail that leads right back to the crime scene. Like, I mean, it's apparent for me anyway. You got some really nice birthing hips. Tickle, tickle, tickle. I can just see his Tinder profile now. What's up, Susan Marie? While having visual snow issues. Yeah, was it snowing? Oh, that's a good point. So you were looking at the moon and the stars while you're having a snowstorm. How about that? Oh my God, Elliot Rodgers. Jeez. That's another one right there. Is it? Sorry, I'm just pulling up my Elliot Rodger file. Yeah, I'm getting Kohberger gives me those vibes for sure. If you guys aren't familiar with Elliot Rodger, this dude is a twisted, sick son of a gun. So Elliot Rodger was an individual involved in a tragic incident that occurred in Isla Vista, California, May 23rd, 2014. Elliot Rodger went on a shooting rampage targeting people near the University of California. Very similar, right? To Kohberger. Santa Barbara campus. The incident resulted in multiple fatalities. Check out this video. It was titled Retribution, and it was posted just before the murders onto YouTube by this creep.
Hi, Elliot Rodger here.
Same eyes.
Well, this is my last video. It all has to come to this. Tomorrow is the day of retribution. The day in which I will have my revenge against humanity.
Revenge for nothing.
Against all of you.
This guy right here is a spoiled rich kid. And most of these incels, it's not that they can't get a girl. It's that they hate women. They absolutely hate them. They will never, ever be good enough. You know, this guy, he's obviously good looking. All he would need to do is just simply talk to somebody, you know. You can just mess around and fall in love if you're normal, you know, on accident. But this guy absolutely hated women.
For the last 8 years of my life, ever since I've hit puberty, I've been forced to endure an existence of loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, all because girls have never been attracted to me. Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me. I'm 22 years old, and I'm still a virgin. I've never even kissed a girl. I've been through college for 2.5 years. More than that, actually. And I'm still a virgin.
I never even got to tickle any birthing hips.
It has been very torturous. College is the time when everyone experiences those things such as sex and fun and pleasure. But in those years, I've had to rot in loneliness. It's not fair. You girls have never been attracted to me. I don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all.
Does it have anything to do with the way I'm fucking acting and how weird I am?
For it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy. And yet you throw yourselves at all these obnoxious men instead of me, the supreme gentleman. I will punish all of you for it.
Ha 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 ha. This wicked ass laugh.
On the day of retribution, I am going to enter the hottest sorority house of UCSB.
Very similar to what Kohberger did. You know, he targeted these popular kids who were, I mean, they were living it up. If I was in college, I would be hanging around with them.
And I will slaughter every single spoiled, stuck-up, blonde slut I see inside there. All those girls that I've desired so much.
Why does it got to be blonde?
They would have all rejected me and looked down upon me as an inferior man if I ever made a sexual advance towards them.
Yeah, he's obviously projecting. But yeah, if you guys want to go see the rest of that, you can check out. We did a couple live streams on Elliot Rodger. Definitely a nut job. He has like a 10-page manifesto too. I agree with that. Salty says Ann Taylor's deadline was today. Yep, for the Franks motion. Nothing showing that met that deadline. I don't know yet. We'll know for sure tomorrow. I was looking for that information today, but I think you might be right. You might be right. It's not even a real movement, Miranda. It's just a bunch of people who, it's like a weird cult. That's what it is. It's an echo chamber that developed into a cult. It's pure evil, whether they admit it or not. It has nothing to do with due process, innocent till proven guilty, because you wouldn't have all of the other issues going on. You know, I'm seeing a pattern here. It's attacking the victims' families. It's false accusations against other people. You know, they go through different people of interest or suspects that they swear that it's them, right? I can prove that it's them. And then when it's not them, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I attacked their family or targeted them. You know, they just become absolutely unhinged. So you'll never convince me that they're good people. If you're attacking family members of deceased victims to horrible crimes like this without one iota of real proof or evidence, you're a disgusting individual. I think so too, Shane. I think so too. Something we were looking at was the Sandra Ladd and Travis Jewett case. Do you guys ever hear of that? I can put the link in the description. I don't have time to go over it now, but the murder of Sandra, she died Sunday, June 14th, 2020. Here, let me see if I can pull up the map. Something I put together here. Very similar to the Idaho 4 case. You know, somebody crept into the house and stabbed them to death. And it went one victim first, age 71, who Sandra would have been an easy target, not far from where Kohberger was living. So I kind of see a pattern here. Sandra, 71, and then it went to Travis Jewett and his fiance. Or was it his wife or his fiance? I can't remember. But she was almost killed too. She was stabbed multiple times, barely survived, but Travis died. Both of them were great people. And Sandra was an amazing person from everything that I've gathered. So it went one victim in 2020, 2022, two victims. And then we could be missing a pattern here for for three victims. And then it just jumps right over here to four victims. So, I mean, for all we know, Bryan Kohberger could already be a serial killer. Yeah, sounds just like the Frank's memo in the Delphi case. Nonsense. I mean, it's got to be hard, to represent a guilty person. It can't be easy. That's how you come up with Odinism shit, or just random stuff. So I don't know how long this live stream is going to be. I was going to take you guys through that virtual tour, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. Instead, I'm going to share the link with you. Plop it up here on the screen. So basically, they recreated the entire home. But I really don't know the crime flow itself. There's little notes here and there, like right here. So speculation that Ethan was found here due to ambiguous interpretations of the affidavit. Xana was found on the floor of bedroom 2B. So if you guys want to take a look at this yourself, you can literally just kind of walk through. So it says here, confirmed intruder's entry and exit point. Latent shoe print location. Confirmed intruder's path of travel. So, I mean, this is a pretty cool virtual tour here with a lot of helpful information. You know, they throw in some real photographs and stuff like that. So go check that out. I think today I want to spend more time in the chat here. Hey, Leslie K, how you doing? Been a minute. Yeah, especially Steve. I don't know why people, you know, it's like the stronger the family member, the more people have to attack him. And I don't understand why. Like, why are you covering true crime if you're here supporting the killer and not the victims and the victims' families? Like, what's your end game? What's your goal? Just to antagonize? The fuck is wrong with you? Crazy. Yeah, that's scary, Anna. I can't stop thinking about Dr. Catherine Ramsland. Kind of reminds me of the last season of Dexter. You know, where he had this weird mentor. She was like an older woman. Plus, I get kind of creepy vibes from Catherine Ramsland also. So they could have had some conversations that she'll never release to the public. I really don't doubt it. Welcome in, David. I guess I'm hoping if there is a plea deal that these YouTubers will have to come to Jesus moment. No, they don't ever. No, they didn't get him through DNA. They were already onto him. They didn't get the DNA until they tracked him all the way to his father's home. Or till they started digging through the father's trash. It might have been before they followed him, but they were already onto him because of the vehicle. And then I think they got a warrant for his phone information. So remember, the biggest clue was that vehicle. And then I think they were searching anybody that owned that kind of a vehicle. Can't remember exactly how they got onto him, but it all started with the car. And then it went to his phone activity. And then from his phone activity, they followed him from Washington all the way to PA. And that's why they stopped him multiple times, because they were using that as an excuse to get eyes on him, which I thought was a pretty good strategy. You know, kudos to law enforcement and the FBI for doing that. I was also extremely impressed with their investigation and how they were reaching out to the public for all of their CCTV footage, like Ring cameras and any security footage. I was extremely impressed with that. They did basically everything that we wished they would have done in all these other cases, like the Delphi case. They did in this case. You know, they got it right. And they got a quick turnaround on it. Red Sauce, they would definitely have arrested him even without the DNA. Absolutely. But the DNA placed him directly on the crime scene. Yeah, so if they can't get any of that suppressed via like a technicality or something, it should be a short process. The jury's probably going to be like, nope, we don't need to deliberate. We've already come to our decision. Guilty. Well, I just don't know how they're going to track him shortly after the crime, Beckles, and pull him over and things like that if they didn't already know about him, have his name and his vehicle, right? Use the DNA to check IgG data to zero in on BK's family. I think that is the approach they're taking. And it'll be huge for Bryan Kohberger if they can get that DNA thrown out. But they can still get a conviction. I don't think it'll work either, Salty. CJK, I can see BK making an adventure out of prison and death row. He'll fancy the opportunity to write about it. Infamy. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he talks about other crimes that he's committed. I'm almost certain that he is, Miranda. Thank you, Jari. Yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of me for whatever reason, there you go. I know you're not, Beckles. And I'm not a case expert on this. But I'm just kind of using the process of elimination. Remember, shortly after the crime, they announced they were looking for a specific vehicle. And they had somewhat of a description, you know, the bushy eyes, tall gentleman. So I think it started with the vehicle, went from the vehicle to the phone, and then from the phone, they were able to track him. And then after tracking him, they were able to compare the DNA samples. But don't quote me on that. We did a live stream also. If you guys are interested in the probable cause affidavit, go through my videos, just type in Sleuth Intuition, Bryan Kohberger, or the Idaho 4. And we read the PCA verbatim. Oh, we got a scrub report. 100 in chat, 55 likes. If you guys could please hit the thumbs up. We're going to get out of here in about 5-10 minutes. Just want to hear what you guys have to say. And what was his motivation? I mean, what the hell? What is driving? What's the driving force behind Kohberger other than becoming a serial killer? I mean, that's the picture that I have painted in front of me. You know, his interactions with Ramsland, her relationship to BTK, the stories of Bryan Kohberger terrorizing one of his classmates and then installing security cameras and having full access to those cameras. Like, I mean, it's like he's taking instructions directly from the BTK killer, which he might be. You know, he has a messenger. I mean, he's in communication with the woman that helped write the biography of Dennis Rader, who appears to be his hero. Ruben says all the wackadoo Delphi channels. Richard Allen was on Trell 3. If you add 3 times to the square root of 999.9, it adds up to him not being guilty. It's only obvious. Yeah, duh. Obviously. Oh, let's see. Anna's going to break it down. Before he was arrested, he couldn't get a date Now women are lined up to save him. Oh, yes. The hybristophilia. Let's see. I think I have something on that. I titled this one "The Online Gushing." So I gathered these online here. The look of confidence. Oh, this was when Bryan Kohberger released his latest, when they released the latest mugshot. These were people commenting. The look of confidence. I'm not seeing any stress. He looks like he's been on holiday, relaxed, calm, and well looked after. This idiot said, hot, like a movie star. He doesn't look worried to me. You have one person that's like, is this even real? He looks handsome. That's how sick these people are. All it takes is a quadruple murder, and then you become attractive to these fucking weirdos. Why he's not smiling? And what the hell is a zaddy? He looks like a zaddy. I've heard that before. Yeah, Elliot Rodgers is a fucking nut job. Well, was. Different but the same. Welcome in, Schizo. Supreme Gentleman. I'm sure Kohberger, with his birthing hips comment, thought he was a Supreme Gentleman also. Oh, it's his fault. All right. Elliot is a fucking nut job. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't matter how good looking you are. If you're just trash, you're trash, right? That's why some people out there, they don't have the looks, but they're just awesome people. And then they, without even realizing it, they become beautiful, like right in front of you, right? Because the law of attraction is a law of attraction. You know, it's just the way it is. Attraction has everything to do with like mating rituals, right? We're attracted to what we think is going to help conceive a child. That's just built into our DNA. But some people are just more awesome than others. And once you get past that initial attraction or lack thereof, you get down to somebody's personality and their character and who they are as a person, they become absolutely beautiful. It's a good question, Mary. Has he even had a girlfriend? It's a good question. Yep, nothing's coming up. Just his Tinder date with the great birthing hips. So that's as close as he got to having a girlfriend, was a little tickle tickle. Yeah, it's the same thing, Anna. Basically a mass murder on a college campus. Yeah, that's what I was going to wait for, Salty. Right before this live stream, I was trying to see what happened with all of those documents. I expected them to be posted before the live stream, but they weren't. But they might have been posted and not made public yet. Yep. I mean, that's just textbook, really. That's what your defense attorney should be doing. What's up, Shalimar? Are you serious, or are you the Gray Hughes Liga? You seem to know nothing about the case yet. A newbie. Yeah. I don't remember claiming to be some kind of expert. Calm down. No reason to be trigger trolling. It's all good. If you know more about a case than me, that's fine. Feel free to put in your 2 cents in the chat there. Better yet, how about this? Now you can't come back. Bye. Oh my God, a YouTuber doesn't know everything about the case. How else are you going to learn if we don't talk about it? I hate trolls. They get triggered when you talk about people bashing the family and stuff like that. That's what brings in the trolls, because that, you know, we're speaking to certain people out there. They get offended by that. Oh, here we go. I was waiting for somebody to answer. Older sexual attractive male per Google. Thank you for that, CJK. Who comes up with this shit? And then this guy, the Shalimar person, after he says, I'm leaving and unsubbed, they left another comment, but it was blocked. Sorry, Shalimar. You should have been a little bit nicer, maybe a little bit more respectful. You could have. We'll listen to you. If you know what you're talking about, we want to learn about the case. But if you're going to act like a little trigger troll, there's just no room for you here. This is an open discussion about a very horrific crime. It ain't about you and it ain't about me. It's about understanding how this could happen, how to prevent it from happening to us, and how we can help bring attention to this. Yep. See, Laura, see, learning as we go. If you have the goods on the case, let's hear it. But now it's too late because you're blocked. You're out of there. Here, I even got something for you. If you're still, I'm sure you're still watching, all pissed off, biting on your lip.
All right, youngster, out you go. Don't come back.
Ever. How about that? I'm sure right now they're like, who's Patrick Vallejos? What's his address? I'm going to Google him. Brr, 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 brr. Triggered. Yep, my name's Patrick Vallejos. That's Vallejos. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. Catch me outside. How about that? All right, guys. I think we're caught up on the chat. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add? Shalimar had the traits of a troll, just saying. Exactly. That's one thing that we don't allow here. It's one of the rules here. No trigger trolling. You don't even have to agree with me. You could even come in here and say that Bryan Kohberger is an innocent man, and we wouldn't get upset with you, buddy. This is not an echo chamber. That was supposed to be an echo, by the way. Mary C says, I think the new judge is perfect to handle this case. Yeah, I mean, somebody said it earlier. Careful what you wish for. You know? Hey, what's up, Sparky? Yeah, we got about 4 more minutes. What's up, Kiwi? Then I got to eat some dinner. But if you guys are going to be hanging around tomorrow, going to be covering the Flora case. Here's the thumbnail that I put together for it. This is another case that I don't know everything about. I'm sorry, you know. Forgive me. Please forgive me. But trust me, I'm learning. I have a person of interest that I'm going to be discussing tomorrow. Don't plan on accusing anybody because I don't have any real proof. If there was any real proof about anything, somebody would be in handcuffs. But I'll tell you where all of my information is leading, and it leads to a very sick individual who was already arrested, multiple crimes, violent crime, including rape. And just happened to be the first person on scene before anybody. So we're going to get into that tomorrow. And I may open up the phone lines. So you guys don't miss this one. It's already up. Go hit the bell icon and, you know, go hit the reminder. We need everybody to be in attendance for this one. You know, people are starting to forget about these 4 girls. And really, they didn't have anybody fighting from them really from the beginning. Jeanette, you have a great night. You too, Sparky. Yeah, I'm gathering content on that case too, the Daybells. Another one I don't know a whole lot about, but very interesting. Remember, guys, I'm here to learn too. I learn more from you guys than you do from me, of course. Duh. So yeah, if you guys could go share the Flora video for tomorrow so that we can get a lot of people in there. Go share it on your Twitter. Go share it on your YouTube channel, on your Facebook. We're going to be dedicating a whole lot of time. I mean, I spent just in the last week hours upon hours contacting people, contacting all of the law enforcement that was involved in this case, neighbors, anybody that was ever interviewed by media, anybody that, you know, I spoke to Mike Vergon briefly. And the list goes on and on and on. And the information that I gathered on this person of interest, I'm going to drop on you guys tomorrow so you guys can do your digging and you guys can do your debunking and poke holes in any theories that I've developed so far. Yep, Laura, I'll see you there tomorrow. So make sure you go hit that reminder. The more people we got in there, the better. It's not a clickbait case yet, but if we're successful, we could turn it into something like the Delphi case or the Kohberger case, you know. If we stay on top of it, guys, we can help it gain steam. The more eyes on that case, you know, the more people that are digging. And we got a lot of persistent people out there that are not afraid to make phone calls. They're not afraid to show up in Flora and ruffle a few feathers. And really all it boils down to is just talking to folks and putting pressure on anybody that might have answers. We have 4 victims here behind me. And we have 4 victims in Florida. Hey, Beckles, shout out to Phoenix AZ. Okay, is that the link there, Sparky? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys, that's all my time. I'm going to get some food in my belly. Please, if you have any comments that you'd like to make on this case or any cases that you'd like to cover, like me to talk about and look into. Like I said, this is a group effort, guys. I'm not here to act like I'm smarter than any of you or act like I know it all. I'm not here to debate you, to tell you that you're wrong and I'm right. Thank you, Sparky. Shout out to Ruben and Sparky for sponsoring today's live stream. We're simply here to try to understand. And if you have information, share it. But when you come in here acting like a weirdo, we just can't have that. So let that be a lesson to all the rest of you folks out there that might be watching. No trigger trolls. All right, Kiwi, I'll see you tomorrow. Olivia, you're welcome. Badass. Red sauce, always good to see you. Not to be confused with hot sauce. We have hot sauce and red sauce. No worries, Sparky. It's always good to see you. And if you are part of that replay crew, you know what to do. Drop a comment. We'll get back to you. A big shout out to all my members who support my channel. Thank you. I love you guys. Couldn't do it without you. All of you who continue to donate to the Cash App, to the Venmo. You guys are extremely generous. You guys make this possible. And the merch shop has been taken off like overnight, guys. People are buying shirts. We sold like 4 t-shirts. And I haven't even posted these cool hoodies up there yet. So all of you who are supporting my channel, hopefully you're getting those, Christmas gifts for people. But I couldn't do this without you guys. You make it possible. Thank you for helping my platform grow. And this platform, we're making it available to the victims' families and anybody who has been victimized by these types of crimes. My platform is available to you on demand. So all you have to do is reach out to me at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. And this platform is yours. So on that note, guys, enjoy the rest of your night. I really had a good time hanging out with you guys, talking about true crime, trying to figure out how the hell these types of things happen, how to avoid them, and just trying to process it, really. All the sauce. Yeah, don't be awkward. Just be chill. It's not that hard. Good night, badass. Susan. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.